When I ordered the Z Fold 4, I thought I might have to return it before the 30-day return window closed because I honestly thought I wouldn't like it. But I went ahead and bought it anyway because I thought that maybe, just maybe, it might surprise me. And now after spending a full 2 weeks with it, there is just no way that I'm returning this thing. And if you're thinking about getting one of these for yourself, I'm gonna give you 7 reasons right now on why it's one of the best things that you're gonna buy this year. Let's start with reason number 7, countdown style, because why the heck not? This phone is ridiculously flexible, and I don't mean the folding of the hinge either. The One UI software for folding phones has come a long way, and Samsung has made sure that if there's something that you want to do, some task you want to complete with this phone, you can do it. For example, you can open up to 3 different apps at the same time for multitasking. Now, for most people, that's kind of overkill, but I have used it a few times while watching YouTube videos. I was watching a video on lawn care the other day. Yeah, I'm aware of how boring I just sounded. And I had the YouTube video up in the top right-hand corner. I was writing notes in the Notes app on the bottom right-hand corner, and I was looking up the products that person was recommending in Google Chrome on the left-hand side of the screen. They've also added a taskbar on the inner screen. As soon as you enter an app, you'll get that taskbar at the bottom of the app, similar to something you'd find on a desktop environment like Windows. This is just one of those things that makes perfect sense to have. You get quick access to any of the apps you pin down here at any time, as well as any of the recent apps you have open in the background. Performance has been solid through all of this too. It's not one of those things that's on my list to talk about because honestly, if you're spending this much on a phone, you kind of expect it not to stutter or lag, but I haven't had a hitch with it even when multitasking with a million apps open. Most of the time, I'm not opening a million apps at once and flicking through them like a crazy person though. My life is just not that busy. Usually I'm just lounging on the couch with this phone watching full screen YouTube videos. And that is where reason number 6 comes in. This is the best phone for any sort of media consumption, bar none. It's an AMOLED display, it runs at 120 hertz, the colors are fantastic, and I absolutely love unfolding this thing to watch a bit of YouTube while I'm having my breakfast in the morning. Even the speakers are great. Some people might complain about the crease on the inner display, but I assure you, it's not a problem. You'll see it when the phone is like off angle or like the light hits it a certain way, but it's a lot like a notch or a hole punch. Your brain just eventually forgets that it exists, much like the partially invisible camera under the inner display glass. It's there, but you'll have a hard time seeing it unless you really look for it, which is a good thing because once you see the photos that come from it, you're gonna wanna pretend that it doesn't exist. A 4 megapixel camera that sits underneath a layer of display glass just is not gonna be very good at all. But the rest of the cameras on this phone, yeah, they've gotten a lot better. And that's reason number 5 that I'm not giving up this phone. Samsung shoved a 50 megapixel sensor into the wide camera on the rear this year, in addition to a 10 megapixel 3x telephoto and a 12 megapixel ultra wide. Unsurprisingly for a phone that costs this much, I am very happy with the photo quality. Previous fold devices actually had somewhat inferior cameras compared to even the Galaxy S phones of the same year, but this Z Fold 4 has cameras that are at least on par with the S22 series, if not better. Even the front-facing camera on the cover screen is excellent, to the point where I don't even really want to use that front screen feature that lets you see yourself to take selfies with the rear cameras. Reason number 4 is probably not something you expected to see on this list, but it's the fact that the Z Fold 4 is the perfect e-reader for on the go. Listen, I love my e-paper displays. They're super easy on the eyes, and I always keep one next to my bedside table for reading at nighttime, but there's no way that you could convince me to take one wherever I go, and there's not enough screen real estate for me to enjoyably read on a non-folding phone. There's a big convenience factor to having one of these in my pocket at all times. I can just flick through a couple of pages from the book that I'm currently reading while I'm waiting in a long line or while I'm sitting on public transit. Now, before I get to my absolute favorite things about the Z Fold 4, the top 3 reasons that I absolutely refuse to send this phone back to Samsung, I need to thank the sponsor of this video, Rhino Shield. Rhino Shield is known for making some of the best phone cases around, and they just launched their brand new grip product. It's a super comfortable grip that pops out from the back back of your phone to give you peace of mind when you're holding your super expensive piece of tech. It can also double as a kickstand so that you can prop up your phone on a table or some other surface to watch YouTube videos. They've got hundreds of different designs on their website for you to choose from, or you can design your own to reflect who you are. They're sustainable too, given that they're made of 85% recycled PET bottles, which is always great to see. They come in two different sizes, the Grip Mini and the Grip Max, and they also have a MagSafe version of the Grip Max that will just magnetically snap to the back of your MagSafe compatible iPhone. It's way more secure than I thought it would be too, and if I need to use my MagSafe charger, I can just take off the grip, snap it onto my charging stand, and away I go. It's your turn to grip greatness. Use the link in the description along with the promo code MARKEDGRIP for 20% off in the first week or 10% off later on. Thanks to Rhino Shield for sponsoring this part of the video. Okay, my top 3 reasons for hanging on to the Z Fold 4. Starting with number 3, the battery life on this phone is way better than I was expecting. I thought with a 4,400 milliamp hour battery and that huge 7.6 inch display on the inside that I use all the time, the battery life would be crap. But it's not at all. There have been days where I had 4 hours of screen on time and the phone had 40% of its battery left. I can easily get 6 hours of use out of this thing before I even have to think about going to find a charger. The Fold just has great battery life, so thumbs up for that. Reason number 2, it finally feels like a finished phone. Samsung has made some pretty minor changes since the Z Fold 2 back in 2020, but they have led to huge quality of life improvements that have changed the way I feel about these folding phones. The first Z Fold and even the second one felt durable enough, but I never really had the full confidence in their ability to last. But with the improvements that they've made to durability over the past couple of years, you know, the fact that they've made it as water resistant as non-folding phones, making the inner screen more resilient to scratches, and the hinge on this phone is insane. The Z Fold 4 will stay open at virtually any angle, and it feels tough. It's actually almost difficult to open or close the first time you try, but you do get used to the tightness of the hinge pretty quickly. The fact that they've made all of those tiny little durability improvements gives me the confidence to both own one and easily recommend it to other people, and that's why it's number 2 on my list. Okay, we've come down to number 1. This is the ultimate reason that I'm gonna hang on to this phone, and it's a bit vague, but it comes from the heart. It's just so much fun. Folding phones are unlike anything else that exists on the market, and the kinds of things that you can do with a phone like this are just plain ridiculous. For example, last week I released a video on how I turned this phone into a Windows phone using 2 completely different launchers that run simultaneously. The launcher for the cover screen had a Metro UI inspired Windows 8.1 style to it, and when you unfolded the phone, you get a second launcher that makes it look like a Windows desktop. Link to that video is up here if you're interested in seeing how I did it. The fun doesn't stop there either. There's loads of things that you can do with this phone that just isn't the same on anything else. Gaming on this inner display, it's just like gaming on a small tablet. Tons of screen real estate, and because of that new Snapdragon 8 Gen 1 and the 120Hz panel, it's one of, if not the best phone out there for it. Plus, this phone is actually an awesome conversation piece. When you whip this thing out in public and then unfold it, people ask questions and they want to talk to you about it. For the average tech nerd like you and me, I mean, these folding phones have been out for a few years and we're used to seeing or at least hearing about them. But for the average Joe, these things are still space age tiered pieces of tech. And I love watching people light up when they see how it unfolds. So no, this is not one of those facepalm thumbnail videos that says, I'm returning the Z Fold 4. I don't think this phone deserves that type of negative coverage. It's the best folding phone that we've seen yet, and I'm gonna hang on to it. Hope you liked the video, thanks for watching, and as always, have a great day.